Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. Discover no-cost, valuable business services to help you thrive, whether starting your entrepreneurial journey or scaling your existing business. We have the resources and expertise to help you succeed. For more information, please visit our website or text 502-977-5800. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or engage with our speaker. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director at the Louisville Small Business Development Center. Thanks for joining us today for another Toolkit Tuesday. And as always, I've joined with my good friend and coworker, Janet Flaw. Hey, Janet, how are you today?
I'm doing okay, Dave. We've got some rain that's come into the area, so it feels nice and refreshing now.
Kind of fall-like around here, even though it's not
Fall-like,
fall,
yeah.
but it looks fall-like.
First full day of fall today, actually.
Yeah. And, just so everyone knows, this is my favorite time of year as it gets colder and darker. I love that. Cold and dark, that's me, that's my personality, so. Well, thanks everybody for joining. And just to make sure that you can see and hear us well, just if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see a toolbar. And if you don't, just take your cursor and hover over it right down there. It should pop up there. You'll see the little chat button. And if you click on the chat, it should pop up. And if you wouldn't mind just saying hello, tell me your name and where you're joining from. I always really enjoy this part of the thing today because I get to see where everybody's coming from. It's really interesting to me to see and say hello to everybody. So just pop in there and say hello. I can see everyone's kind of joining. The numbers are clicking up here. There's Janet and hey, Steve. Good to see you from Chicago. Great. Yeah, Steve, we had a nice exchange the other day. Thanks for reaching out to me. I really appreciate that. Thomas, say Thomas. San Antonio, excellent. Right. Also, Thomas, Louisville, Amy in Glasgow. All right, come on, I know you're out there. I can see the numbers popping up. Can't hide. Just saying hello. Anyway. All right. Well, thanks for joining from all over the country. I think it's fantastic. I don't know how you find this, but I really do appreciate it. It's really great. So as we go through our little presentation today, if you have any questions or comment, just put them in the chat. Not so much the Q&A, stick with the chat, and then we'll get them answered because we have a fantastic guest today, my good friend Deja Downey, who is the owner of the Vision Group and one of the top marketers here in Louisville, Kentucky. And Deja and I, we work on a number of projects together, and she's a fantastic resource and somebody that you need to know. And so today we are talking about something very important, and that is customer service. How to handle customer complaints. And, it's so easy to get sidetracked with, sometimes you get things happen and sometimes you get some negative reviews or a customer complaint. And the way you handle that is the way that you can turn a bad situation into a good situation. And Deja has kind of a cool technique, which is very helpful. And I think that you'll find it very helpful as well. So Deja, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Good. Yeah, we're really excited about this today because, they always say one angry customer tells, 100 other people or something like that. But if you have a good experience, nobody says anything. So it's important to handle this. So
they keep it to themselves, actually. It's almost like, they say when you find somebody good, just kind of keep them to yourself and tell the whole world. It's the same concept with great customer experience. So
right.
I thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to let you fire things up and let's just dive right in. And again, if you have any questions or comments, now this is your opportunity to engage directly with a great marketing expert for free. And so if you have any questions or comments specific to you, just reach out and in the chat there, and we will have a discussion with Deja about this.
Excellent. Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always elated to be presenting with the Louisville SBDC because of the fact they do this consistently. We talked a little about that consistency before you guys got on the call and how important it is to just stay consistent in a time that things are unsure or unfamiliar at this time. So really quick, I know a lot of people speak of customer service in reverse, right? We always talk about how you wear a smile and all those great things. We're going to talk about what happens when you drop the ball. Dropping the ball for me has yielded me more opportunities in my business, and then previously in my corporate hospitality experience as well, within the four walls of restaurants and also helping other restaurants grow. I've seen where you drop the ball, but you pick it up and you continue to go for that victory run. But it takes someone to know how to do it. So I'm going to teach you from a question and answer standpoint. And if you have any questions, please feel free to just drop in the chat and we will get back to you as soon as possible. But the goal here is that we could just try to talk about how to handle customer complaints and how to turn a potential bad situation into an opportunity. So we're gonna go through this through 7 factors and just we're gonna speak on it from one perspective. We're gonna also get other perspectives as we're growing through this presentation. So a little bit about the goal of this training is to help small business owners with customer recovery. So like I had to say, a lot of people talk about the customer service and how great it is the first time. But we want to talk about a lot about like what happens if you drop the ball and what does dropping the ball look like. So what are the 7 factors to a better customer experience, and then how to be proactive in the experience. So a little bit about who we are. With the marketing, we are the Vision Group Marketing Consulting. I totally love what we do at the Vision Group. We are an award-winning marketing company that's dedicated to bringing affordable and professional solutions to small business owners. We are a marketing company that likes to bridge the gaps between small businesses and corporations. A little bit about our services. Restaurant consultant all the way over to digital marketing, direct mail marketing, and other services as well. All right. So myself, I'm Deja Downey, the founder and chief of partnerships at the Vision Group. I did corporate hospitality for 14 and a half years and a corporate instructor. But my motto I live by, one of my quotes is winning is a mixture of strategy, techniques, plans, resources, and most importantly, people. We win together. You cannot win without people. You do not have a business without people. So that's why I would like to lead with heart first and find out what people need and then meet them where they are. Everyone has a journey that they need to go through, but it's all about how you get through the journey to the next step that you want to be on. Okay. So, what is the number one reason why guests complain? I know you guys can't answer per se. If you want to drop in the chat, you can. What is the number one reasons why guests complain? Give you guys a little second on just think about that. Just think about that. Yeah. According to Google reviews, 96% of customer complaints are about a bad customer experience. Now, that's kind of blanket, right? So it's like bad customer experience. Like, what does that really mean? And we go into the 7 factors that kind of go into what makes a bad customer experience. Because you may not know it's a bad customer experience for a customer. We may think we're doing a phenomenal job, but once we identify the 7 different factors, you're going to be like, oh, okay. Now I'm kind of see from the optics of from a customer or client standpoint, what they're kind of seeing and how they're coming up with this answer. So really quickly, the 7 factors of a bad customer experience is number one, and these are just not necessarily by industry per se, but they're just all kind of relevant for all of them, right? Number one, the food quality or quality of product, huge. So if what I expected it to be, did it match my expectations? 2, cleanliness of the establishment or place that I'm going to. If I see trash overflowing, do I see people not washing their hands? Things of that nature. Staff members, how are they interacting? What is their vocabulary like towards one another? Are they being disrespectful? Are they disrespecting other people? Unavailable material. So things like I go to the bathroom, it's the toilet paper roll not there. Speed of service. So how fast, based off my expectation of the business, how fast did I get it? Right. So did it take a long time? Or based off what they said it would take as far as time, it matched that expectation. A lot of people don't know this, but we set the expectation for speed of service every day. So for an example, if I as a person, as an owner, or have one of my professionals on my team create develop a website, and that's I'm going to take them, 72 hours to create one, which is fairly unreasonable a little bit. But if I tell them 72 hours to create a website and then we give it to you in 3 weeks, we did not exceed the expectation. We actually went against what we said, right? So now we're not telling the truth. We're not being transparent. Hospitality. When I call with an issue or a problem, how do we handle it? Are we kind on the first time around? Did it take a little while? Ambiance. So if it is a physical space, a brick and mortar, and or online, I know it's gonna sound crazy. From an online standpoint, the ambiance, even if it's on your social media page, what kind of atmosphere, what type of pictures, what type of inviting environment do I see before I get into, like, if it's a bad customer experience? I know this sounds crazy. You probably like, oh man, is it really that deep? It's very much that deep. A lot of people think that their social media platforms and websites do not count, but let me just tell you an example. Your website, to me, how I look at websites are like your virtual brick and mortar. So it's another opportunity to present your front doors. So even though you may not have a brick and mortar location for your business, your website still presents as such. So for an example, if somebody comes to your website, it's hard to read. I don't really know what to click. I don't know what to do next. All those different things go into how someone sees your business. So if the font's hard to read or the links don't work, that's one of the biggest thing I ever see is like people's links don't work to me to go ahead and book. It's not easy. I have to go through, more than 3 clicks is unacceptable in our world. But things like that help us go into how we see your brick and mortar, your space. So, since the number one people always complain about the quality of food, we're going to talk about that first. And even if this does not apply to your business per se, also think of product quality. So once again, we set the expectation on what it looks like through, like, number one, does the food or your product look like the picture? A lot of people are using stock photos. Stock photos are not bad, depending on how you are using them. But in most cases, if you can hire a professional photographer or find someone they really know how to use their iPhone really greatly, or other products, there's a way to get really great pictures of your product. So you want to set the expectation of what the product looks like with a great picture. Does your food contain all the ingredients described on your in your actual food description? For an example, you can flip that also to other products. If what I come to your business, does it look like what I think it's going to look like based on what you're advertising? From a touch feel, from a five senses standpoint, when I touch things, are they greasy, are they not clean, or do I feel like I'm in a dirty environment? Things like that go into if it's for food quality or great product quality. um how long has the finished product been sitting under a heat lamp? In this instance, it's talking about food, but what about when I think about when I come to a place and maybe a candle, and I look at it's kind of oily at the bottom. Is it leaking? Is it not in a clean environment? Is it just sitting in its own oils? Things like that. Think all those different things play a factor into how one will see your quality of your product and or food. I think another big thing a lot of people miss is, even if we have, like, let's say somebody's a merchandiser and they have product as far as like clothing, hats, and shoes at their store. And they have a shelf of clothing, and the clothing have little dots on them from where they're considered could be dirty, or one may just perceive them to be dirty. That right there is one of the number one complaints, is people just not perceiving things as great quality, and or not clean. Okay. And I went too fast, sorry. The type and cleanness of the establishment itself. some things you cannot avoid. If you do have a brick and mortar location, you can't avoid the kid that walks up to your glass and put their hands on the glass. You can't avoid that. You can't avoid people just touching the glass versus using the handle to enter the business. But things you can avoid is like things like trash can overflowing in your staff. So if you do notice that that happens a lot in your business, what you can do is incorporate a more of a stricter cleaning procedure to make sure that people are taking care and cleaning as they go along. Our counter's not wiped off. A lot of times when I see retail spaces, a lot of times the front counter area is very cluttered with things they don't really need. Some things are impulsive, right? So we do need to have like, candy bars and things up there. But other things I do see up there, just people just having paper just laying around, or people on their phones. All the different things play a factor into the cleanliness of the restaurant. Um, Another thing is too, is there any visible pets? Look, recently there's a local restaurant over here by us. I won't name the establishment, but my grandmother said she went last week and didn't have a good experience. And I said, well, what happened? And she was explaining that she had experienced some form of an insect just being there. They've seen it multiple times throughout the visit. And I was like, oh my goodness, y'all tell the manager. And she said she did. But things like that, and they already told me my grandmother and her knitting class is not going back. So things like that tell the tale on how you feel about your business. There should be a pest control option if there is something like that going on. um Things like drink machines being sticky, and then also something simple as, does your restrooms have toilet paper on the floor? I know how many times men and women have left the bathroom and noticed there was toilet paper stuck to their shoes. I know some of us kind of laugh about it, but really that's really a really good example of things not being taken care of. So if this is one of your factors that you've seen customer complaints over, go ahead and take care of it, because it definitely tells a tale on how people see your establishment. Staff members. Um, my biggest thing with staff members is being the person that ran crews of 36 over to crews of over 210 through multiple units. What I've noticed is staff members need to know the company standard. And be sure that your company has a handbook with uniforms, attendance policy, dress codes, and etc. That would keep you out of a lot of trouble later on. But what I would say also too, is like, are your staff members happy to see guests? That's one of the biggest things I see now, especially right now in 2025, with customer service declining at a high rate. People don't think they're happy to see you. You're like, hold on, if I don't come in here and patronize the business, you guys won't have anything, right? So, or you guys won't have revenue that day. But training your staff or finding people that already have that customer know-how will be excellent. Also, too, are they ready to serve people? I know you go to some restaurants when they very first open and they're still trying to find the utensils and do stuff. Or when you go to retail business, they open up, but they're not ready to actually give you the product that you come in there to get. Things like that really, really, really make people feel like you're unprepared, and then you're not ready to really serve them as customers or clients. And then also, last but not least, have your staff members been communicated to about the expectations of a shift? I would say this for an example too, is like, Christmas is coming up, Black Friday is coming up. Is your team equipped from a digital standpoint of fulfillment of orders, or is your team equipped from an in-person standpoint to be able to take care of those customers and clients at a high level, a high volume expectation as well? Um, and that can be calibrated off making sure that you order enough product, things are available, and things like that. But all that goes into how one sees the customer experience. This right here is one of my favorite ones, because it's things people really don't think about. So, according to Google reviews, 25% of all customer reviews are about important materials being unavailable. So, for an example, restrooms not being properly stocked with toilet paper, paper towel, soap, and etc. These things are critical. I know we think, oh no, it's fine. They don't need to wash their hands. They do. And then another thing too, if you think about restrooms like specifically, if if the customers can't wash their hands, is your employees washing their hands? Just something to think about. I'm not trying to scare nobody right now, but I'm just things to think about when you think about why we should do the things we're doing. How often does your team check the important materials like paper products and other things like that? Is that part of your regimen? a checklist would be great. How's job is it whose job is it to make sure that these things are taken care of on the shift is very, very important. So designating when you have your team huddles, what's going on. I know we had talked about speed. Sometimes it's not always about how fast you're going to obtain a goal, but it's more about are you consistent with that speed. Um, there have been times inside of our industry, we produce digital products, help produce billboards and do press releases for different companies. One of the things I've noticed is that I would rather say a deadline that's a day um, farther out, and feel like I'm exceeding the expectation, knowing we can get it done within 24 to 48 hours, but tell them 72 hours. That has saved us so much hassle with customers because they know that they can count on us for making sure that we beat the expectation or delivery time. Um, that I would say that's one of our strongest suits is actually beating the expectation delivery time on products because we set that expectation a little bit farther out on purpose to give us time for things to go wrong in the business or things to go right in the business. But we want to make sure that every customer feel like they're important when they come to us. If your business isn't a fast food restaurant, where can you see customers see this as important? I said for us is it's important from a non-food restaurant to also set the expectation as far as time is concerned. People love to feel like they are number one all the time. But how you do that, even when you take on a lot of customers, it just makes sure you set this expectation out far enough for you to be able to exceed what you present. If you feel like for some reason, especially during the holiday season, as you know, we will be getting more high volume, that if you feel like you need to bump that up, make that clear on your website. Make that clear in your communications through text messages and emails that you will have a longer wait time. It will be 2 weeks versus 72 hours. People love if you plan ahead. That way they'll know what to expect, or they'll know. Like for example, one thing I did for a client who had an e-commerce business is what we did was for them is let them know, hey, if you order by this date, which is like December 14th, you're guaranteed to have it before Christmas. That also, you got to think about other factors too, not just your business, but what about USPS or whatever shipment fulfillment that you use as well. How can you make sure that you meet your clients' expectations as they need their product before Christmas? It's a big deal. Um, you don't want to miss the big day. You cannot afford to miss the big day. But just going ahead and building that expectation in can really help you go farther. What is the leadership of the business? How does the leadership of the business set goals on order to delivery? Crucial. Crucial, crucial, crucial. And also, last but not least, time is money. It's crucial that leadership sets expectation and also holds their team accountable to such things. Accountability can also just be, like I said, checklist is your friend in your business, whether you are just a team of one or a team of 20. Creating a checklist on what you need to accomplish in order to get to the next step on daily, weekly, monthly can definitely help set a new tone for your business. Hospitality. This is my favorite one. And I always talk about one particular group of people that we think has the best customer service on the whole wide world. Chick-fil-A. I always challenge people's ideology on why they think Chick-fil-A has the best customer service. Um, to me, when I look at Chick-fil-A, I look at how simple the brand is that keeps people in uniforms, right? Now, granted, they have raincoats, they have branded shelter stations, they have all different types of things at Chick-fil-A. But one of the things I notice is that literally they are branded. And one of the other biggest things I look at is their uniforms. They're always in uniform. And it seems like everybody has their shirt tucked in, they have on the belt. It's an expectation to work at Chick-fil-A. If I didn't have my shirt tucked in, if I didn't say how are you, if I didn't say my pleasure, if I didn't greet you with a smile, I didn't ask you about do you have your Chick-fil-A award reward points, I'm literally out of compliance. So it's easy from a management standpoint to hold that team accountable if they're out of compliance. But they have to have it written in how they take care of their clients. Same thing you can do with your small business. You could build your business, quote unquote, like a Chick-fil-A. I don't know about using the same vocabulary, but what I would say is that you can create your own signature vocabulary based off what it is. Um, I remember at Taco Bell was just hi, how are you? But that's not really as exciting as how may I serve you? How may I serve you sounds like obviously you're the king or queen and you're coming there to get your chicken sandwich. Like it makes you feel so much like royalty. And that's all in the design of their business. So what signature vocabulary do you want to adopt for your business? Something to think about. Um, how consistent are the customers? How consistent are their employees? Their employees at Chick-fil-A are so consistent. I can easily identify a really great Chick-fil-A experience over a not very good Chick-fil-A experience. And they seem to always get the order right too, right? Get another step. And a lot of people think their drive-through is pretty bad at Chick-fil-A. It's actually not. I wish I had the statistics to show that. But if I'm not mistaken, back 2 years ago, they was like number three. They were like number three on the list, and believe it or not, based off of speed of service times, McDonald's and Wendy's were faster than Chick-fil-A. But the reason why people perceive Chick-fil-A to be so much faster is because of how many customer interactions you guys get. So you get a lot of customer interactions at Chick-fil-A, and it keeps the waiting time down longer because you feel like you're being serviced faster. And it's pretty good. Another thing too, how important is training to your business when it comes to hospitality? I think for me, your team will adapt whatever attitude you have towards customer service. So even if you're having a bad day, what does that look like to you? That's what your team would take on. I know people are at different levels on this call, and just in general with small business, we all at different levels. But if you're having a bad day or you're having a customer that's complaining about something that went wrong with their order or something that went wrong with their business product or anything like that, it's up to you as a leader to set the tone. What I will also say is that one thing I've learned is just take a deep breath, think about it, and come back into it. So I'll give you a quick example. When I worked for Yum Brands, there was a lady, she ordered a lot of money. She ordered a whole lot of money in catering through one of the restaurants that we was over. And at the time I was still running a unit. And what was crazy about it was I noticed that she wrote a complaint that was almost 6 feet tall. I'm almost 6 feet tall. So the complaint literally was an email. It was this long and it kept going. One of the cool things I learned about that was that she was complaining about everything. Everything was wrong with her order. It wasn't on time. It wasn't punctual. Our crew didn't look nice. We didn't look like we cared. I mean, everything that could have went wrong with this order. Well, over time, that $6,000 complaint turned into a $60,000 relationship. And what I mean by that is that instead of me complaining about it, I actually cried in the car. Let me be honest. I cried first. And then I re-engaged the situation by offering her discounts on her next two meals with it. Because obviously, Christian Academy of Louisville was a big priority of ours in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a private school. And what we end up doing is we end up taking care of her. But what she did was very phenomenal. She told everyone about this great experience she had, and she was telling people that she wanted them to call me directly when they want to place another catering order. So that's how it grew from 6,000 to $60,000 in a year. Because she was telling the people was doing weddings, other corporate events, and things of that nature. And I will never forget her. Her name was Miss Mary Beth, and she was one of the sweetest ladies. But she had to get me. And I promise you that taking care of customer issues, anticipating their needs, and thinking about your own family, how you like to see your business run, can definitely help you dictate what you want to do in the future. So imagine you turning a small problem into a bigger opportunity by just manning the opportunity and going forward. Other things people don't really think about as much is the ambiance. This is even from a digital standpoint, so we'll talk about that too. Um, from an ambiance standpoint, on like social media is concerned, I'm also thinking about like how sometimes people don't separate their business and their personal accounts. Important. We don't want people to judge you off of the way you run your business or and the vice versa, right? So one thing I would say is that I encourage everyone to separate their digital marketing accounts in their website away from who they are personally, because that needs to set two separate tones. Like for example, my personal account has, especially on Facebook, had more pictures of like maybe my children and things of that nature, versus my business account is strictly business, all the things that we're doing that's business related. And that would just set a new tone for the actual business. Ambiance, I think about when I go inside of different spaces, is the music too loud? Or how loud is the music? Can I even hear it? Can I have a casual conversation while the music is playing? Um, it's actually no secret, but in retail around Christmas time, just notice how much louder the music is. It's deliberately louder because they know that you're going to shop more and be more excited around Christmas time, right? It's the most wonderfulest time of the year. So things like that, that's all intentional. Everything's very vibrant that time of the year. People seem to be giving more, people are more kinder. Except for in traffic. They're not that kind in traffic. But things like that. And then most importantly, does the music selection match the product or the dishes? I went to one restaurant and the ambiance, it really threw me off. I would not name the restaurant if you're here in Louisville, Kentucky, but the ambiance was more of like a mid, like a Western theme, but the music was pop, and then like the um the workers and or the employees were in like a cat they was in like very casual clothes, but then they also had some that was in formal clothing with bow ties, and I was just very confused. But people loved it there, but I probably would never go there again. It was kind of a lot for me to take in. um the lighting was very bright, and I thought with a middle, with a Western theme, that it would be a little bit darker, right? I was just a little confused on the whole mood it was trying to set, and I think about all this stuff all the time. So don't take me out to eat. I'm always thinking too much. But it was just something to think about. I was like, I just don't understand where they're going with this. Like, what exactly should I be feeling? And then with it being a steakhouse, I really was confused. And I could understand the steak in Western, but not the pop music per se. I don't know. I just feel like it should have had a little bit more thought through it. But maybe it was great. I don't know. And then also, what feeling do you want people to feel when they walk into your building? Do you want people to feel like like Bath and Body Works to me gives me a very upbeat, exciting. I'm about to spend $35 and get 15 items, that type of feel. What type of feel do you want to invoke when as people walk into your business? Something to think about. Because the things that if you don't know the answer to these questions, sometimes what you're going to see is that people know that you're unsure. Um, if you think about McDonald's, I know back in the day when you was a kid, kids meals made you really happy. Some people are excited when they go to Chick-fil-A. Um, I hear different things about McDonald's now as we get older, of course, that they only go there to get a drink or something like that. But I think of how it makes your children feel and other people around you feel as they walk into the building. So things you want people to feel. Here in Louisville, we have a like Hot Topic. You want to feel like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word, a really good word. Well, to me, when I think of Hot Topic, to me, I might think it's like scary, or maybe like I'm trying to find something to go to like a Halloween party or kind of spooky or things like that. Um, but I think of what kind of products they have inside of that before we go inside, right? So just think about when you think of ambiance, how do you change the ambiance of your business from a digital standpoint, and also does it match what vision you have for the brand itself? All right. So I would say this about handling complaints when it comes to businesses. Be willing to. They're going to happen. Now, everybody's going to catch your vision. Everybody's going to come in and be excited. Someone might have told somebody about what you have going on. Be ready. I would anticipate complaints. I'd be willing to answer the phone. I never forget. People would give me the phone at different restaurants to be, hey, answer the phone for me. I'm scared. I don't know what they want. Or I just might be the same person complains every day. And I'm like, good. I like to hear the complaints because that's how we grow. I could tell you right now, our business grew significantly when we take care of the complaints versus ignoring them. Ignoring them does not make them go away, especially in 2025. People would go to Google, they're going to your Facebook page, they're telling people about it. And I know the percentage has changed over the years. I wish I had that present on like, the ratio of complaints. What I would say is that complaints are not the end of it, they're opportunities to be better. not the end of it. They're not the end. You just getting started. He's getting started. But what I would say is that you can anticipate those complaints, especially if you're not having a process on how you take care of your customers consistently, and your team understands why we do what we do. A successful business. In order for your business to be successful, you must build a team that helps you execute your goals. I cannot stress enough about building a team that understands how. And if they're not the right team member, they probably need to be let go. That's just honesty. So, first, the management team must align with the company policies and rules. Recruit and hire team members that um, you believe will represent your company well. Hold people accountable to your company standards and procedures. Don't waver off of that piece. No one should get a pass. Everybody should be held to the same standard. Even children, even my children do a couple of things for me sometimes, and I'm like, you have to do this correctly. Because if I let you slide, everybody gets to slide, right? And then follow up with at-risk customers. Your at-risk customers are some of your could turn into some of your biggest advocates for your business. Um, because if they did not care, they would. A lot of people that don't care or had a bad experience, sometimes they don't complain at all. Matter of fact, they just don't come back and they talk about it with everybody else. At least if they did take the time out to write a review, that's a good time for you to own that experience and then go and talk to them. One of the biggest things I also would say about at-risk customers or people that had a bad experience, um, they're giving you opportunity to fix it. Because when they contact you, they're giving you their phone number, their email, or something. They're giving you an opportunity to fix it. You could either build in a policy how many people you plan on taking care of, or you can build in a policy how you take care of your customers if they have a certain kind of complaint. That's going to help you in the long run. Follow up with average customers, and then also every customer is a new start to a better experience. I believe that 100%. Every customer you get, whether they've been with you for years or they're now coming back on board because of a bad experience, that's a way for you to start a whole new experience with or a better experience with that client. Okay. All right. So now we're going to open the floor for some discussions and questions. I'd like to thank y'all for your time. Kind of a lot to kind of take in, but I was just thinking about 7 ways that you guys can build a better experience by anticipating the need of people that are coming inside of your business, whether that's online or in person.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deja. That was fantastic.
Mm.
So, well, folks, now's your chance. If you would really have something that you need to throw out there to Deja, now's the time to ask it. So,
Yeah.
Deja, do you have like do you try to put together like a written script, like when you need to address a customer complaint?
Yes. So there is script for customer complaints for us. We have 2 different versions. One is based off of what the need is. And what that means is like based off the type of products that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing we have that's a script written is just like how we apologize. Like for example, when I can't really use these I do not own these. I want to say that they say you don't own the rights the copyrights to this music. I gotta get that disclaimer. I do not own this, but at Young Brands, I know for sure they had a product. They have a thing called Last, and what you did was the acronym standard for listen to what the customer is saying, apologize to them, satisfy them, and thank them for the opportunity to fix it. I think some of those fundamentals really speak through and true to how I am now. But what I would say is that what we like to do is just make sure we listen to what the problem is, because believe it or not, people just want to be heard sometimes. It might not
Mm-hmm.
be your fault. It could be anybody's fault, right? And then
Right.
just figure out what it is. And if you could fix it, you can. And then our team is from that listening point, go from a escalation to a non-escalation opportunity. And that's when I probably take over at some point, and or they just take care of it. Life is good. Because after a while they get used to it, right? So it's not good. Believe it or not, a lot of our customer complaints come from understanding.
Right.
Right. So a lot of them are just trying to understand what they're getting with marketing and advertising. A lot of people are scared of it. So then once they learn about it, they feel like they're more confident, more empowered.
Right. Ty wants you to explain a little bit more why you said the drive-through wait time seems shorter than it really is at
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really shorter because it's more people interaction with you. So while you're in the car, if you notice, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but I've noticed at least 2 to 3 touch points. As for when you at McDonald's, not only do they not even acknowledge the wait, but you don't even see anybody until you get to the window to pay and to get the food. So
Right.
it seems as if you're there longer when you're truly not that much there much longer. um I'll hate to say somebody get to stopwatch and time it just to see, but it's really kind of cool to kind of watch because first you order at the window, you order at the before the speaker or at the speaker. You get around the corner, they ask you want a receipt or how are you again. They hire you one more time, and then you get to
Right.
the window. By the time you don't talk to 2 to 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
and your food's finally here.
Right.
It's very unique on how we think it's faster, but truly it's not.
Yeah, it's kind of a psychological trick almost.
hmm They have matter of fact, it's so funny how I talk about that sometimes. How when you go to Chick-fil-A in the mall as a kid, we had one idea of Chick-fil-A, and then Chick-fil-A came out into like the solo stores, and we was like, they like took over the game, and we're like, dang, they was already dominating the food court. Now they're dominating the drive-through experience, and
Mhm.
amazing job. They had a team of great experts, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Jim, hey Jim, how are you? What's the best way to get a complaining customer to switch from the online review to a voice conversation to resolve and satisfy them? That's a good one. That's really good.
So how did say this one more time?
So like if they have a complaint, they'll put up a Yelp review as opposed to having a direct dialogue with you. You know,
Okay.
how do you get them to
Believe it or
switch to
not.
that? So like
Oh
maybe they
man,
do
this
put
is a
up a
good
review.
one.
How do you get them to get to you then? Where you can deal with it directly.
This one's gonna be actually is gonna be. I love this question. This is a really, really good one. What I've seen is though is that a lot of people don't have their phone lines or their phone numbers available for people to call
Ah.
and or emails. So if I do launch a complaint with you or want to talk to the manager, how long does it take for me to get in touch with you,
Mhm.
get it resolved? I wish I had that data too. That'd be really good data to have. I'm about to add it to the presentation on what is the percentage of people that try to call first and get it resolved versus going to an online platform.
Mhm.
What I also would say is that a lot of people have phones, but they don't answer because they're busy, right? So they're overwhelmed, they're busy, they got their team that's busy, and they don't have someone to take care of those customer calls. And I think we leave the door open to just using whatever they can to complain to be seen, if you will. It's like attention almost, to get the attention that they need or seeking because we don't answer the phone. We don't get
That's a
back with
great
them in a
point.
reasonable amount of time. So, if it's 24 hours, your complaint line is, let's make it 24 hours.
Yeah, that is a great point.
But I
Yeah.
do see that a lot. But a lot of people tell me they didn't. They called and they leaving a review because they couldn't get a hold of the manager. I have
Okay.
seen that complaint more than anything else. So it makes you almost think to myself, like, is there a way they could text or call or get in touch with somebody before they take it to, I hate to say the internet streets, but take it to uh, Google or Facebook or any of the other ways, Yelp, which Yelp is kind of dangerous a little bit.
Let's see.
Nothing too, a good way to combat um getting a complaint because it could happen to any of us anytime.
Oh yeah.
um, is to go ahead and while you're having that customer that's smiling back at you and they had a great experience, they come in every Tuesday at 6 o'clock to get this product. That's the customer review you want. And consistently find those customers throughout the journey and consistently ask them to do the review and or find a way to incentivize them to do the review.
Right.
Whether it's a weekly drawing or whether it's some kind of way you can make it where it's a contest and they won something, won lunch on you or something.
Yep.
$10, 50. I don't think you can get much for $10 anymore. But maybe like 15 bucks. And get something that they would like. But I would say is that we control the narrative of our business, but we got to be proactive in the positive experience. So when the negative experience comes or the opportunity comes, we can fix it.
Yeah. Robin says the remodeled Chick-fil-A in my area now has the door open where customers receive their food, and there is a table with multiple orders on the table. To me, this allows the food to get cold. Wow.
Mm,
And you know what? Maybe it doesn't, but just that visual, that's a great point, Rob. What do you think, Deja?
perception.
Yeah.
Perception is key. So if I believe that my food's been sitting up there for 5 extra minutes and I want my fries fresh, um, Chick-fil-A is doing some really, I seen that door too, where they literally are like walking out. It's like almost like a sliding glass door almost, but not necessarily that way.
Right.
But yeah, I have seen that, and it's perception. People perceiving that it's happening, and then if you just touch that one fry and it's not a temp, expectations are killed. No, this is as sensitive as this may sound, it does happen. I think it does
Right.
go back into perception, and then also too, people thinking about that? Are they just once again are they just thinking about speed of service? What
Hmm.
time are you going? Are they going between lunch and dinner? Are they taking my just hearing me getting these orders out? It's just, it's everything rising and falling leadership. Because you can have
Hmm.
a table there, but you don't have to use it. Right. And if you use it, it's
Right.
not there for long. And
Right.
I wanted the tables heated, but Chick-fil-A is pretty smart. So I give it to them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they do a lot of psychological research on perception and stuff.
They do. They do. And but I would say, but just how she's bringing that up, that's an important point. You might
Yeah.
think you're doing a phenomenal job at something and someone has a different perception of it.
Hmm.
So I would say too, it won't be bad for if you do have an experience where you kind of question something, you're on the client side, share that with them because maybe they don't even realize that that's how one may perceive it, and you could probably can help them.
Right.
But I just think it's important to keep your eyes open.
Yep.
Keep your eyes open.
Steve says, how do you respond if you start to sense that the complainer is just wanting to complain and basically just bugging you because they can complain and nothing is making them happy? We've all had somebody like that. I know I have.
Man, that's a really good question, first of all.
Yeah,
Because
it is a good one.
it's always one or two. It's always one or two.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think for me, because I had someone not recently, well, kind of recently, like 6 months ago, had the same kind of issue. And at some point, I think I did ask her, because it was about her website, things she wanted done on the website. I did ask her what exactly was she looking for, and could she show me examples of it. I think in your particular case, so depending on what the product or service is, you might not have that kind of time to go through all that. Um, I think you could try your best to meet them where they are. Try to fix the problem if you can. If you can't, it's still okay to go ahead and issue a refund. That's why I know our company has a policy for refunds. Issue them a refund if you so choose, and then offer them opportunity to come back if you want them to. But sometimes people just will need to be freed from the situation a little bit too. Refunds
Hmm.
are not bad. I would just say you should not be doing more than, in my mind, I think I said between 1% and 3% of refunds for your whole business. That's absolutely crazy if you're doing more than that. But sometimes people, they, I don't know, the expectation or perception of what you're doing is not what they thought it was, and that's okay. But at the same time, be willing to have a policy surrounding around refunds, and then just wish them well with a smile on your face too.
Right.
Some people, they're just not going to be your fan. Nothing they can do. I don't know why. I don't know why, but some people are just not going to meet you where you are. And then just also learn how to cut ties in a professional way versus letting it escalate and then people behind them see it and it becomes a big fiasco. Just always remain professional in the moment and then just easily professionally cut ties.
Right.
People are watching you do that too.
Yep.
But then we see some customer service videos where people are fighting and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Cheeseburgers on a Wednesday? Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Looks like all the questions we have, Deja. This has been fantastic today. It's and such a timely topic, especially coming up on the holiday season. This is something that really should be on top of everyone's mind is how to really improve their customer service going forward.
Yes. And I think another thing too, I'll say this really quick before we close out. Just set realistic expectations with the holiday season. I think some people go out and they spend so much money on production that they do not look into like what do they currently have done over the years if you have that metric. Or they don't look into like what to really expect based off the industry. We're also in very unique times as far as like economically as well. Just things to look into, like what are people really do some research. But what I would say is proceed with caution. If you have a phone number, answer the phone. If you have a Google, get those friendly faces to do Google reviews for you and Facebook reviews for you. And last but not least, don't let one questionable or opportunity with a customer experience keep you from keep going.
There you go. Good. Well said. Well said.
Yes.
Well, Deja, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you spending time with us today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Day.
Yeah. And Janet, thanks for driving the ship as always.
Sure thing. Just a reminder for everyone to stick around for our survey after we finish.
All right.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
thanks for joining today and for another Toolkit Tuesday. And we will see everyone next week. So have a good Tuesday. Enjoy your day. Thanks.
Thank you.